What's up, guys, and welcome back to my channel. And if you're new here, then welcome to our little corner of the internet. Today we're watching 13 etiquette rules in the US that surprise tourists. You know, one thing about coming to America one day will be to know the etiquette, which I don't think there's gonna be anything that really is gonna surprise me from this list. I think I'm pretty well mannered, um, hopefully, but I'm interested to see if there's something that will surprise me though. Let's see what this video is about, guys.
So our parents teach us to be polite, but what you learned as a kid doesn't always apply when you're in another part of the world. So if you're heading to the US anytime soon, I've got some tips for you on what we Americans consider the rules of etiquette and some stuff that's totally okay in the US that other countries might consider rude. Let's start off with my favorite, food etiquette. Number 1. Feel free to ask for some condiments. If you're eating out and your food is tasting a little bland, it's completely fine to ask for salt, pepper, or sauces to add a little zing to your meal. I know some places in Europe see it as an insult to the chef if you start adding a little spice of your own. But don't worry about that in the US. Nobody's going to be offended or give you weird looks if you ask the waiter for a bottle of ketchup, even if you're at someone's house.
I remember this one time as a child. I was in an Italian restaurant as a child, mind you, and I was eating spaghetti and I wanted ketchup on my spaghetti, and the restaurant owner got so angry. They didn't have ketchup in the restaurant and they ended up cutting up a tomato just so I can eat that. But I remember that the chef got vivid. It was like ketchup on your spaghetti. And I probably was like 9 years old, I swear. And I remember my mom was like, don't ask for ketchup, don't ask for ketchup. And I was insisting. I was like, no, I want ketchup. Of course they're gonna have ketchup, it's a restaurant. And yeah, it was not a good idea.
Visiting, they won't see it as a jab to their culinary skills either. Some just like it spicier than others. Number 2. Always tip. Okay, well, maybe not always, but it's a rare occurrence if you don't tip your waiter, hairdresser, cab driver, and so on, and only if the service was really awful. But even then, a lot of Americans feel guilty about not leaving any tip.
Even hairdressers though? Interesting.
The rule is 15 to 20% of the bill. So get ready to do some mental math each time you eat out. I've heard that tipping isn't a thing in some countries, especially in East Asia, where restaurant staff always provide good service no matter what. But in the US, it's simply a sign of gratitude that your waiter did a good job, even though they're probably tired, their feet hurt, and they've got a bunch of other tables to tend to.
I will always tip at a restaurant, but not like often if I go to get my hair done, for example, just because I don't go to like, a certain someone. But for example, for my lash girl, because she does my lashes every single time, I do tip, and as well as my nail girl, because she does an amazing job. I mean, look at these nails.
No, they're probably tired, their feet hurt, and they've got a bunch of other tables to tend to. Number 3. Clean up after yourself at fast food restaurants. Of course, if you're going to the States, I imagine a lot of your eating out will be done in fast food joints. You'll see a lot more of those than your traditional sit and be served by a waiter types of places. But anyways, if you're finished eating and your tray is now full of wrappers, used napkins, and empty boxes, take it to the trash can and dispose of the garbage yourself. Most fast food places don't have a separate cleaning staff for that. It's pretty
We do this in Finland as well. In Spain, it depends on the place.
much always the cashier that needs to find time between ringing people up to go clean up the dining area. So we try to help them out a bit and clean up after ourselves. Number 4. Open gifts immediately in front of the giver. Now, I was pretty surprised when I found out that opening a gift as soon as you get it is considered bad manners in certain parts of the world. I guess some cultures see it as kinda greedy when you start tearing into a present right away. In the US, it's pretty much the opposite. Open it as soon as you get it right in front of the giver. That way, they can see your reaction and you can thank them right there on the spot. There are also no rules about using both hands or a certain hand when giving or receiving a gift. Just grab it and open it already. Number 5.
I think that's kind of the same here, but in Finland, maybe you can give a gift and they can open it at home later, because it's a bit stressful to open it like in front of the person who gave it to you, But I like that. I don't mind that.
Be ready for small talk. How about that game last night? Whew! When's this weather gonna let up already? Yes, Americans love small talk, so don't be surprised if a stranger just starts chatting with you while you're waiting in line or sharing an elevator. It could be sports, the weather, traffic, anything just to have a short, light conversation. I can't really say why we like talking to people we don't even know, but I mean, if you're sharing a space with someone, are you just going to totally ignore their presence? That'd be awkward. Oh yeah, and you'll get asked how you're doing a lot, even by strangers. It's usually waiters and cashiers that'll greet you with a, "Hi, how are you today?" Just answer with "Fine, and you?" even if you're not exactly having a fantastic day. Number 6. Expect a
Small talk here in Spain, more typical. Finland, no. If you go and talk to someone there, no. We don't do that in Finland. It's just weird if someone comes and talks to you. The elevators are super awkward in Finland, and here in Spain you also say good day, good morning, good night to like pretty much everyone in Finland. I always go to Finland and I start saying hi to everyone because I'm like used to the life here. And then everybody looks at me like, do I know you? And then I remember, oh, I'm in Finland. You're not supposed to say anything to anyone.
lot of smiles. First of all, let me bust the myth that Americans constantly walk around smiling ear to ear. Nobody does that, because that'd be weird. But again, if you're sharing a space and making small talk with a stranger, or maybe someone opens or holds the door for you, they'll smile at you, and it's polite if you do the same. Cashiers and waiters also greet you with a big friendly smile. I read somewhere that this goes back to our early history as a country built by people who all spoke different languages. They didn't understand each other all that well, so they just smiled. But I still think we just like to be open and kind. Number 7. Respect the bubble. Now here's a pretty funny thing about
I think the smiling one is generally everywhere. If you smile at someone, it's like a kind gesture. But yeah, I'm thinking about like if I go to a restaurant here, they wouldn't usually smile, honestly. Like they're just like, what do you want? Well, not what do you want, but well, it depends also where you go. But I mean that's kind of international, no?
Americans. We're friendly, we love to chat, but we also really like our personal bubble. The unspoken rule is to stand about an arm's length away when you're talking with someone. We're also not too big on touching during conversation, because this can
Oh, didn't they say like if you're at a distance where I can punch you, you're too close, right? Because in Europe we get very close to speak to each other, apparently.
be misconstrued as a way of flirting. Of course, the rule doesn't apply with close friends and family, but still, even then, most Americans aren't too touchy-feely. Number 8. And definitely no kissing. I know in countries like Spain and France, people often greet each other with a peck or two on the cheek. There might be some Americans who greet the European way, but overall, we don't kiss each other as a way to say hi.
I hate this when they say kiss each other, and I feel like some of you guys, if you came here, you would try to kiss the person on the cheek. No, we don't kiss each other. What you do, imagine this microphone was your mouth, your face. You go to the side and you do to the sides. You don't kiss the person actually. So like, don't think that you can come to Spain and kiss someone on the cheek. That would be weird. No, you do it like in the air, But every video I watched so far, they're like, oh yeah, in other countries they kiss each other. No. It's not like, you don't touch your lips don't touch the other person's face.
Again, my personal bubble is my sanctuary, so don't come in it with puckered lips ablazing. Mwah, mwah, mwah. It's best to just say hi, smile, and keep it at that. Number 9. Being loud is usually okay. The stereotype of the loud American tourist might ring true most of the time, since we tend to project our voices, even out in public. It's not that we're yelling all the time, but I'd say we certainly speak louder than people in Europe or Asia. I've gotten some friendly reminder to take it down a few decibels when visiting my friends abroad. But hey, if you're ever in the States, feel free to laugh out loud or get particularly animated while telling a joke. But of course, there's a time and place for that. You still have to hush down in places like libraries.
See, this is like something that I'm like curious to see how I'm gonna notice it in America, because yeah, in Finland especially, if you like start laughing out loud, like super loud, everybody's like, what is going on, you know? Like, it's not very typical.
Shh. Number 10. Indirectness is politeness. So here's the thing about Americans. A direct, no, I don't want or like that is seen as pretty rude. But if an American gives you a polite, no thanks, I'd rather not, or I don't think that's the best idea, that doesn't mean that they're on the fence about it. No means no, even if it's said indirectly and super politely. It's frowned upon to try and convince someone to do something or change their mind because it's seen as pushy and disrespectful to their wishes. Number 11. Sit in the back seat of a cab. Now this is something interesting I found out about Australia and New Zealand. There, it's considered rude to take the back seat of a cab because it's almost like you're showing that you expect to be chauffeured by someone who's lower than you. Well, don't worry about that in the US. In fact, you should ride in the back seat because the driver might give you a weird look otherwise. It's not an elitist thing, and you can still make friendly small talk from the back. Just respect the driver's personal bubble, that's all.
We do that too here. Like, you always sit in the back. It's, yeah. It would be, I mean, you can sit in the front too, it's not an issue, but usually you would sit in the back.
Number 12.
And in Finland especially, you would sit in the back, like they don't like you being right next to them.
Personal bubble, that's all. Number 12. Feel free to keep your shoes on inside. I had a friend from Russia recently ask me, why is it that in all American movies, people are walking around their house with their shoes on? And I just told him straight up, because that's what we do. Now, there are plenty of families here that don't have a no shoes indoors policy, although I'd say the majority don't. So here's a good rule of etiquette to live by if you ever visit an American's home. When you walk in, ask if you should take your shoes off at the door. If they say, nah, you're okay, don't feel bad about walking around their house in your shoes. I know it seems bizarre to most people around the world, but it's a-okay here.
This is something that in Finland we take our shoes off, and when we moved to Spain with my mother in our household, we would take the shoes off. But in Spain, you don't take your shoes off. But I prefer shoes off inside the house rather than shoes on. Because I think is way more comfortable.
It's okay to keep it casual. Overall, I'd say the biggest thing about Americans is that most of us are pretty casual and laid back. If you're ever out and about in the US, you'll see a lot of people running errands in sweatpants, gym shorts, baseball caps, and even their PJs. But it's not just about clothes either. We often keep it on a first-name basis, even with people that are generally referred to more formally in other countries. For example, most of the time your boss is just Jim or Janet, not Mr. or Mrs. Jones. You might start off more formally, but I guarantee you that that person will say right off the bat, hey, call me Jim. Now, what?
This is something that I thought would be the other way around, because every time I see like American schools or something, they always say like Mrs. blah blah, Mr. da da. You know, in Finland we don't do that really, and I don't think they do that in Spain. In Spain even less, but I mean, Finland, you have to have manners, obviously. but you don't have to be like sir this and sir that ever. Like that would be nearly weird. Like you don't, well, actually in the Finnish language you wouldn't even say like sir and Mrs. and Mr. and it's just
Would be weird is if their name isn't.
What we do in Finland is call people by their surname a lot, actually. And in Spain, usually you would talk on first name basis, if that makes sense.
Hey, call me Jim. Now, what would be weird is if their name isn't Jim. Maybe it's Howard or Benny. Then what you say is, hey, call me a cab. So, are any of these Americanisms different or the same in your country? And to all my fellow Americans, can you add anything to the list? Let me know down in the comments. If you learned something new today, then give this video a like and share it with a friend. But hey, don't go call me a cab just yet. We have over 2,000 cool videos for you to check out. All you have to do is pick the left or right video, click on it, and enjoy. Stay on the bright side of life.
Well, that was that. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys. I think it's very interesting to watch these because also like where I live right now, Spain and Finland are super different when it comes to like mannerism and just life in general, houses, everything is different between Spain and Finland. And then it's also different in America. But I like everything from America so far. I haven't ever seen anything that I would be like, oh, that's so weird, or like in a bad way or anything. But hey, thank you guys for joining me for this video. Hope you like it. Please leave a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye!